How's it going, everyone? Today we're going to be covering how to play against Skarner. How do we shut down this champion in lane and gain ourselves an advantage? Because you may have seen from my tier list that I made recently, Skarner is one of the strongest champions in the top lane meta right now, and it can be very difficult to play against, especially if you don't shut him down early game. So I'm going to be recommending some counter picks that you can use, and I'll be showing multiple examples of how exactly you can shut this champion down in lane before he gets to the point where he's very difficult to play against. Hey everyone, if you're passionate about improving and leveling up your gameplay, I've been offering coaching classes for 5 days a week for quite some time, and just seen firsthand how much my students have been improving across all different elo brackets. How it works is you'll come to a class with a VOD like reviewed, and I'm going to help you with your early game, your mid game, or anything you feel like needs improving. And if you're unsure, then I'm going to steer you in the right direction by setting clear learning objectives. Link's going to be in the description, I hope to see you there, but if not, then enjoy the video. Now, before we dive into specific examples of playing up against Skarner, I'm going to be giving some tips and tricks around his abilities of how to play against them, because there are some common mistakes I see players make when they're playing up against Skarner, so there are some key things you need to watch out for. Now, we'll start with Skarner's Q, where, of course, at a base level, he picks up the rock, he can throw it at your head, does a lot of damage, or he can auto-attack you 3 times, and on the 3rd hit, he's going to crack your skull open. Now, in terms of playing up against this, something you really need to keep in mind, especially early game, when Skarner's been quite respectful, when he's got, Doran Shield Tear and he's weaker than a lot of champions, is he doesn't really have that much time to throw his rock after he picks it up. So once he picks it up, you should be trying to utilize creeps to block his Q, because it only lasts around 5 seconds. He can only hold it for 5 seconds. However, keep in mind, if he auto attacks, that timer will be refreshed. So if you look at the bar down below, it's just about to run out, but if he auto attacks, he gets another reset on that cooldown. So if you're playing a matchup that's very good into him, so like a Darius or an Olaf, for example, and he's respecting you, he doesn't want to get all in, and you see him pick up this rock, then you need to be respectful for that brief timer. You don't have to sit all the way back, but just utilize your creep wave to block that Q for you. So he's also going to be damaging the wave at the same time, but you're going to be avoiding a big chunk of his damage, because that's going to be the skill he maxes, his main damage tool. So if you can play around that, it's going to be very beneficial for you. Now, as for his W, doesn't really matter, pretty much undodgeable AoE skill, that's going to slow you. Don't really worry about that too much, not a lot of people are doing that Comet W max stuff, and even if they do, if you have Doran Shield second wind, you're going to be fine. I recommend Q maxing if you are a Skarner player. But as for his E, now this is another main skill of his, the hardest to play against. Something you really need to keep in mind is Skarner cannot knock you back unless he's inside you or past you. So if you're playing a champion like Set or Darius, for example, where a lot of times it is good to walk past your opponent and extend the trade, champs like Jax, versus Skarner, especially if you're pushing, you really want to avoid that, because if you walk past him, he's just going to E you into the tower. But also, a good Skarner player is going to be trying to do the reverse of that. He's going to be trying to walk past you, so you really need to be maintaining your distance and not letting him shove you into a wall or into your tower. But it's pretty similar to Camille in the aspect where if you're fighting him in the center of the lane, another good example of this later on, he can't really utilize it. He can't get you into a wall because the E, it lasts a lot longer if it doesn't hit a target. So as you can see, the range of the E is very long if there's no target. But if you hit somebody with the E, you don't really get that long to push them. So this can be very beneficial for if you're receiving a gank from your jungler. It's pretty rare, but if you are, then you can utilize standing in front of him to block his E, hopefully if you're not near the tower, and he's not going to really have much room to escape. So really good for setting up ganks as well. You can block him similar to us blocking a Sion ulti, but especially if you're looking to push up against him, you really want to be maintaining your distance. It can be very common, like I said, on champs like Darius and Jax, to be running past your opponent to get the longest trade possible, but versus Skarner, you have to be very cautious, especially if you're by tower, but if you're in the center of the lane, then you definitely don't need to really worry about it. And of course, probably the most frustrating part of playing against this champion is just how much insect potential he has. His ability to bring you under tower rivals Release Cassante, where if you're not careful and you're trying to get a wave under tower around this angle, you're going to get hooked under tower if you're not respecting. So not only do you need to respect, him walking past you and just eating you under tower, you also have to respect him being able to flash you. He can just flash past you in E, stun you into the wall, and then bring you under tower with his ulti. This champ just has way too much insect potential, so you really need to be playing around it. Now, my biggest advice for this aspect is having good wave control, where if you're stacking your waves from up here, and then you hard push the final wave, get under tower, you're going to be fine. Where if you, crash at the wrong time, or you push too quickly, and you find your wave awkwardly stuck here, it's going to be very easy for him just to bring you under tower. Now, I also recommend that you play a champion that has some sort of outplay tool if you're counterpicking them, and I will give some recommendations. I'll pop them up on the screen right now, actually. So, champs like Olaf, champs like Fiora, where you've got parry, you've got ulti, you can drop that aggro, it's going to be very easy. Or ranged champions like Kennen or Twisted Fate. Most raid champions will do, but I recommend those ones because it's very easy for you to maintain your distance, get push under his tower, and not give him any room to insect you. So you have to be very careful if you're playing melee champions with not much outplay potential up against them, and just ensure that your wave control is as good as possible, because if you just get flashed under to the wall and they're brought under tower, you're going to have a really bad time. Alright, so we're going to be going through some examples of how to shut down this champion in lane, and we're going to be starting with Darius, because in my opinion this is one of the best picks into Skarner right now, because not only do you shut him down in lane, you do very well into him in the matchup, you get snowball, you have a lot of room to get prior and attack the enemy jungler. As you can see, I'm warding level 1. If Shen started blue, I would have attacked him. If, I have 3-wave crash and I see an opportunity, I can do so. But you also do you scale very well into him into the game, because Darius loves having, big tanky meatballs that run towards you, because it's very easy for you to get 5 stacks up against them in a team fight, and Skarner is no exception. So you win the early game, you win the late game, so really good counter pick all around. So as you can see straight away, right off the bat, I am looking to get a really extended trade against him. If you play any strong bruiser champion with Conqueror, you're going to dominate this champion level 1 if you see the opportunity, but I still see this mistake. Players walk in with their wave, they're just hitting the wave, they're not trying to pressure and zone this champion level 1 and start off the lane on the right foot. So as you can see, auto attack W, trying to get a lot of stacks, but he's playing really respectfully, sitting next to his tower. And now he's picked up his rock. I don't want to sit here for no reason and tank the rock to the head, right? So I'm looking to avoid it now. And something you'll notice, specifically how I dodge this rock, my movement is very erratic. So not only that, I'm not going straight to wave, juking up, down, up, down. I also am very wary. I'll go a little bit, I'll go back a bit just to show the example. I'm very wary of the timer in which he has before he's allowed to throw his rock. So here you auto-attacked me, the timer reset, and now as I'm juking, I'm paying close attention to the top left, and I know he has to throw this rock in the next second, or it's just going to fall off, he's going to drop it, so I choose my big juke around now. I click here, I click really deep into river to avoid this Q, because I know he has to throw it at that timer or he's going to drop it. Something you can keep in mind as well, they can aid you in dodging that ability, and now if I want to get my minions, and I'm going to be looking to do the same thing again. So here, I try to get W onto him. He spaces it quite well. Good on him. And now my movement very erratic again. So you should never make it easy for him to hit a Q onto you. Don't just stand here and hit the wave, because if he hits a minion and it's going to AoE and hit you, it's a lot easier for you to dodge it if you're playing off to the sides, away from your creep wave. Or if you are using your wave, make sure you're standing, well enough behind them that you don't tank that AoE. So now I'm just looking to get level 2, get that level 2 rush, and zone him from this creep as well, and we're going to be punishing him. So I hook him here, auto W, he pops his phase rush, so good on the Skarner, he's a high rank Skarner, of course, you can probably tell by his name, loves the champ. He's taking phase rush into this matchup, not grasp, or he's going to get run down a lot easier, so good on him, but a lot of the Skarners you play most likely will not take phase rush, so you're going to have room for bigger trades at level 2. So here again, there was a mistake by me there. I should have spaced out his rock slam, his third auto attack on the wave. So this is still early on. On my versing Skarner journey. So I am still making some mistakes, as you can see here, taking some rocks. But generally, I am playing around it quite well. So here you can see, go for the big trade. I'm trying to keep my wave in the center, like we talked about just before. If your wave is awkwardly here, you are going to really suffer into this champion. So we burn his flash, and in this game, I initially wanted to 3-wave crash, but because of how aggressive he was playing, he was doing big Qs, big Ws on the wave, I chose to 4-wave crash, because there's nothing worse than playing up against his champion and accidentally pushing wave 2 or wave 3 in a timer when you can't cleanly crash it under the tower. You have to pay very close attention to what he's doing to the wave and make sure you're cleanly crashing. Because if your wave is up here and you're trying to do so, he can just EU or even flash EU under the tower, and you're going to have a really bad time. So now, even if he flash E's me, I'm going to be fine, and of course we just burned his flash, don't have to worry about it. So it's very easy for me to hard shove this wave as quick as I can, and then I'm going to be looking to fog off. So, in general, I could have taken some better trades, of course, but I was in a position where he could never E me under tower. The trades were quite good, we burned his flash, and now the wave is coming back towards me. So I choose to stay here. I could have based. If I was playing another champ like Olaf or Fiora, I probably would have based got an extra longsword. But on Darius, generally you do want to stay for tier 2 boots, and I'm not that low, right? I'm still, 75% HP. I'm fine to stay on this timer and play more to punish him. Especially because he has no flash, and I know my Ivern is coming back topside on this timer. He puffed down, so I really want to make use of that jungle resource, where if I base there, he probably could have one-shot the wave. He has quite a lot of AoE. And then based in TP'd himself, so I'm looking to trade with him, let the wave come back towards me and punish him. But he is quite an annoying champ, as you can see, a lot of room to escape, but I know because I have the flash advantage, I can hard punish. Now, if I was playing this 1v1, maybe Ivan was ganking bot, I would look to flash on him later on. I'll take a trade, burn his E because the cooldown's quite long, and then look to flash onto him. But because Ivan is playing topside now, I'm just looking to wait for him and play around that, and we're able to shut him down quite surely. So here you can see, facing towards him, flash E into Ivan Q, and he's gonna probably die. Yep, not even the Ivan Q, just easy kill all around. We burned his flash early, but I'd say the main takeaways from this lane is going to be the wave control, to be honest. You know, playing around his Q and the wave control, because so many times I see that mistake where you shove the wrong wave, you push too slow or too quick, and your wave is not cleanly shoved. But because we got the wave cleanly shoved in, you could see it bounce back towards us quite nicely, and we were in the center of the lane for the majority of this matchup, which is something you really want to be doing up against Skarner, or even on your side of the lane is fine too. But that gives him room to stun you into the wall, so you know, fighting around the center of the lane is the sweet spot up against this champion. For our next matchup, we have Olaf up against Skarner, another great counter pick. And you probably see a theme by now. I'm picking champions that excel into tanks or neutralizers, and I do recommend having one of these in your champion pool if you can. You know, champs that do well into champs like Skarner, champs like Gragas, champs like Tom, champs that feel very difficult to get advantages in a lane. Having a champion that's identity really is built around shutting them down can be quite beneficial, but I will show some other examples after this of champions that don't really fit their criteria. Now, I wanted to show this example because it's more so me showing the fact that I'm up against Skarner gives me so much power in the game, and you can use that power to carry the game. Now, you saw in the Darius game, we warded the blue, and we were really ready to attack Shen, because you can 1v2 most jungle combinations with, with Skarner. If you're playing champs like Darius or Olaf, or maybe even Ignite Riven, depending on the jungle, you can really look to attack them level 1 or level 3 at their buff, so it's really important you're looking to utilize your power well. So in this game, Olaf up against Skarner, I'm going to be looking to either punish him early, you can see already straight away, huge level 1 trade trying to chase him down. Back to my wave, didn't really want to give up 3 creeps for that one. But still, you're looking to take, really punish your stronger level 1, and I'm going to be looking to use my pro quite well. So either I'm going to be 3-wave crashing and attacking the enemy jungle, looking to make a proactive play, or I'm going to be proxying, basing, coming back and attacking him on the bounce back. You have so much room to shut down this champion or attack his teammates in the early game that if you don't use it, you're really going to get punished. But you still need to be following the overarching rule of playing against this champion, and that is having very disciplined wave control, being very good on the wave that you're crashing under tower, so that you don't put yourself in a position where you can just EU under there. So here he has W and Q, I don't have to worry about that, and now you can see my wave is in a pretty good spot. Could be slightly better, could be a little bit back, but it's very difficult for him to insect me in this game under the tower, and now I'm going to be looking to hard shove this wave, and then I'm going to be looking to attack the jungle. So I could be shoving this a little bit harder, but still you can see, yeah, there it is. Pop W, get this wave in fast we can, and now I'm going to be looking to attack. You can see the ward already pre-placed on his blue. I'm ready for action, but in this game, this Gragas attacks mid and takes him out. So I see another opportunity. So either I would attack Gragas on this blue, or I would look, for this play right here. But generally, you're going to have a lot of opportunities in the game to attack the enemy jungler if you're up against Skarner, and you pick a good champion into it. So you can see here, because I was up against Skarner, I have so much prior, I'm able to punish this Gragas, even take down this champion here, this Kiana, and Skarner arrives very late to the fight. So you can see this whole time he's losing so much top, the waves coming back in, and even if this opportunity didn't arise, let's say Gragas started blue, well in that case I would have attacked him level 1, let's say Gragas just ganked bottom, right? He was very late to get into blue, the wave would have came back towards me, I could have proxied, I could have cheated recalled, and I could kill him on the bounce back or get a really good trade into him. So you're always going to have room to punish this champion between the levels 1 to 5 as long as you look to do so. But if you fail to execute and this champion, starts to get Bramble Vest or some tank stats, level 7, 3 or 4 points in Q, you're really going to struggle. So it's really important that you have a really good pre-planned early game up against this champion so that you can gain yourself an advantage. So now for our next example, as promised, we're going to be watching more of a niche counter pick. We're going to be watching Cloud9's new top laner Thanatos play Rumble up against a Skarner. Now, of course, even though it's a pretty good matchup for Rumble, he doesn't have the luxury of just walking past the wave and bashing this guy down level 1 with Conqueror, compared to a Darius or an Olaf, so he has to play a bit more reserved. So he's looking to Q, get a good trade, cook him down, and something you will notice throughout this entire matchup is he's really careful not to overcook this wave. Even though it's quite, easy for Rumble to make that mistake to Q the entire wave and burn it down, he's really careful not to give the Skarner push, of course, but try to keep the wave in the center, so Skarner doesn't have any agency to EU into the wall or EU under tower or anything like that. He's trying to keep it in the very center, exactly like we talked about before. So he's still trying to take good trades, and don't get me wrong, he could be doing a better job of playing around the Skarner's Q, taking less poke in that aspect, but he's still getting some good trades down himself, and what's more impressive to me is his wave control throughout this entire lane. So gets a ward down, of course, doesn't want to get killed by Viego. And now look, gets a good cook onto him and clicks back. And something you'll notice if you play up against Skarner and you're stronger than a 1 to 3, where most champs should be, he's going to be breaking the wave with his Q. So something you'll notice here, earlier on, Skarner threw his Q, chunked the wave a little bit, and now Rumble's looking to pressure him here, because he knows Skarner's going to Q that cannon minion, so he's got it locked into his mind. If you Q this cannon, I'm going to really punish you for it. So Skarner either has to give that creep, or he's going to take a lot of damage, and of course, no one's going to give up the cannon, so he's going to get really hard punished here. And his Q did not touch the wave at all, so his wave is still in a great spot, because Rumble does have the luxury of not needing to auto-attack, so you won't really have the minions turn on you and ruin the wave. You can take great trades without drawing that minion aggro, as long as you be careful of when the wave is walking in like this. So really impressive that, past 30 seconds of trading, in my opinion. And now the same thing. Keep the wave in the center. Skarner has to last it with his Q, which is damaging the wave a lot, so it makes your job a lot easier. So now Skarner already has to base in TP very early on in the game. Rumble has a bit of a CS lead, which I showed it, recorded this clip a week ago, because I really liked how he played the lane. But he's got a good lead now, he's burned the TP, and he's going to look to press his advantage even further. So now a very similar game plan, just looking to poke down the Skarner and look for an all-in later on, but he did just TP back. He's going to have some time to, chip away at him, and even though he is cooking the wave a little bit here, it's fine. The wave is kind of close to his tower, but because he's playing Rumble, he has a lot of room to cook it down from far away, and it's not too close to the point where you're desperately getting it under there, so there's no real room for Skarner to EM under the tower. So trying to cook down this wave, get it under, but Skarner's doing a pretty good job of chipping the wave with his Q and trying to freeze it out of the tower like this, so it's going to be a little bit harder for him. But because he's playing Rumble here, it's a bit easier for him to get that cook down, and he's still looking to punish. Every time the Skarner is going for CS and Rumble has the abilities open, you can see he's really making him work for it. So it's really good if you can make Skarner break the wave. As you can see right now, he's damaged the wave a little bit too much with his Ws and with his Qs, because Skarner's only real 2 trading tools are big AoE abilities, so it's going to be damaging the wave as well, which gives you a lot of room to manipulate the wave to come back to you if he makes that type of mistake. Exactly what Thanatos is doing right now. He's allowing the wave to come back towards him, and even though he has missed his recall timing, Rumble, I would say, is one of those champs where it doesn't matter as much because your base damage is so high, and something you will notice is he's going to get level 6 very shortly, because if you get every single piece of XP from every single minion wave for the first 5 minutes, you're going to get level 6, and this is the 5-minute regular wave, so he's going to get level 6 on the final minion here. So now he's level 6 versus 5, Skarner did miss some XP when he had to base and TP back, so now he's going to be looking to press his advantage. So boom, straight away ulti, flash onto him, cook him down, and really good laning all around. He let the wave come back into him after chipping away at the Skarner's HP bar, and he was able to punish him at a time when he was significantly stronger. And something else you'll notice is while Skarner is locked into his E animation, he cannot flash, so it's very easy for Thanatos to punish that here. And he probably would have ultied anyway for the chunk, but I like to think, maybe he flashed after him as soon as he saw the Skarner E to guarantee the kill. He knew he couldn't flash out of it. Maybe I'm just being a bit hopeful, but great play all around regardless of that, especially that, level 3 to 4 trading pattern that was around the middle, punishing Skarner for going for CS. Really important. I'd say, the main point about playing against Skarner is going to be that wave control. So regardless of what champion you play, as long as your wave control is good, you're going to have a great time up against this champion. Alright everyone, thanks for watching. I am going to be calling it there, and my intention with this type of video is to make it more of a mini-series where I cover all of those champions that I see players struggling to play up against the most, and Skarner is that new champion on the block my students were struggling with, which is why I chose to make this video. Hopefully it does give you some value, but if there's any champion at all that you struggle with in top lane, maybe every time you verse a Teemo or a Darius or an Alawi, right, you just get smoked, feel free to comment the champion you hate versing the most down below, and I will cover the most popular ones. But other than that, I hope this video gives you some value next time you verse a Skarner, and I'll see you guys next time.